wake up every morning feeling really refreshed, wide awake, full of energy, like you got a great night's sleep? Anybody?
Wow.
How many of you wake up feeling kind of tired, have a hard time getting out of bed, not feeling like you got a great night's sleep? Okay, this subject is very near and dear to my heart. I've had insomnia for about 20 years. Started in my 20s. Somehow I found NyQuil. And I started taking NyQuil and it made me sleep really well. That stopped working, then I went to Unisom. Took that for a while, that stopped. Then I tried the more natural alternative type of methods, melatonin, valerian, stress management, acupuncture, herbs, did nothing. Then I went to my primary care physician and got a prescription for Ambien. And Ambien I thought was the greatest thing in the world. It worked great for a couple of years. Then it actually caused a rebound insomnia and actually now keeps me up. So I'm currently going to a sleep disorder center at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, and I'm working with a physician. I had a sleep lab study, and they're trying to figure out how to cure me from my insomnia. But if you have trouble sleeping, you're not alone. The National Sleep Foundation study did a study recently where they found that only 50% of adults actually get a good night's sleep most nights of the week. And women in particular seem to have more trouble with this. Up to 70% of women report not sleeping well several nights a week. And 30% of women report taking a sleep aid a few nights a week. So why do we have this trouble sleeping? Why all this insomnia? I guess take a look at what your lifestyle is like. If your lifestyle is anything like mine, you get home from work late, probably kind of stressed out. You might get home and do more work on the computer like I know I do. Check your emails. You may start watching television with cable television on 24 hours a day. You can get involved in a show. Or you might go out to a late dinner with some friends, have some wine. All these factors can contribute to insomnia, and I'll get more into this in a few minutes. So what are some of the consequences of not getting enough sleep? Okay, the first one, very importantly, is impaired memory and cognitive function, which can affect your work performance. I know I personally can attest to this. I've had days at work when I've had minimal sleep for days, and I've just sat at my job at the hospital and I've just stared at the computer screen with no thoughts coming into my head, and I had a really hard time doing a task that should have taken me 15 minutes. I just couldn't do it. You know, I don't know how people like Sahil function as physicians where life and death situations are involved. I'm just writing a note on, a nutrition patient. Another time I came to Toastmasters when I was still a guest, and I was so sleep deprived. I was terrified to come here and have to do the table topics because I couldn't remember what I did 2 minutes ago. And when I come here, I actually wear my sneakers and I bring heels. And I looked in my bag when I got here, and I had a brown pair of shoes and a black pair of shoes, and they were both the right foot. So, of course, as vain as I am, God forbid I wear my sneakers, so I cram my feet both into the wrong shoe, and I'm walking like this. So these are just some examples of how I was functioning for a long period of time. So aside from impaired cognitive function and memory, another consequence is mood disorders. There are increased rates of depression, stress, anxiety that affect your relationships. Inadequate sleep can lead to decreased immune function, which is very important for people who are sick, trying to heal their bodies. And then lastly, there's been a lot of talk in the news lately about inadequate sleep being related to increased rates of diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. People who don't get enough sleep have greatly increased rates of obesity than people who do. And then one more, if you don't get enough sleep on a daily basis, your interest and desire to eat a healthy diet, exercise, and even to have sex diminishes if you're chronically fatigued. So there are a lot of reasons why we want to try to get our sleep in. Okay, how much sleep do we actually need a night? Sahil, how many hours do you get a night?
Sleep too much.
You sleep too much, okay.
Wow.
That's not good either, actually. Julia, you're a peppy girl. How many hours of sleep do you get a night?
If I'm lucky, 7 maybe.
Okay, and you feel good on that?
No,
Pretty.
maybe 8.
Okay. It depends. Sleep experts, it depends on the person. The average person, they recommend, would function best on 7 to 8 hours a night. It really depends on the person. Some people need only 5, Other people need 9. So it really depends. But the bottom line is most of us are not getting enough sleep, and we're not functioning quite as well as we could be. So if you find you're having trouble sleeping, what are some things that you can do about it? There are a lot of tips. The first thing would be some kind of lifestyle or behavioral tips. First tip I would recommend is that you get on a regular sleep schedule. And when I was working with a sleep disorder doctor, this was the hardest thing for me. I had to keep a sleep log. And they want you to go to bed every night at the same time and get up every morning at the same time. Now, who wants to get up on a Saturday morning at 7:30 in the morning? I don't, but I did to appease the doctors. It didn't actually do anything for me, but I think for most people, if you're on a more of a set schedule, it will improve your sleep because you have to get your body's clock on the set schedule. So that's the first one. Second one is have soothing sleep rituals before you go to bed. What would that be? For some people, it might be take a bath. Have a cup of tea, read a book. The worst thing you can do is what I do, is I get on the computer at midnight and I'm working on my blog or whatever and I'm all stimulated and all of a sudden I look at my watch and it's 12:30 and I know I should be in bed and there's no way my brain can kind of shut down. So that's what you don't want to do. Another thing I would recommend is that you be careful with alcohol before bed. A lot of us think of alcohol as something that makes you sleepy and helps you sleep. It may initially, but then once your body has metabolized the alcohol in the middle of the night, it actually wakes you up and you get a more broken sleep. Next tip would be don't spend too much time in bed. If you're laying there and you just can't sleep, get up, go in the other room, if you don't have a studio, and read a book. Do something different. Don't just lay in bed. You should associate your bed with really only sleep and sex, not to hang out in your bed, watch TV, read. You want to just associate when you get into bed that you sleep. Another goal would be not to nap. I don't know how many people have time to nap during the day, but I guess some people do. But when you do nap, it will kind of mess up your sleep pattern. So these are some things that you can work on that may help your sleep. If that doesn't work, I would recommend that you examine your psychological state. Some people have underlying anxieties or stress or whatever issues you might have going on, and that can definitely affect your sleep. So meet with a therapist if you need to. And if none of these things have helped you, talk to your doctor about a sleep aid. I'm the kind of the queen of sleep aids. Not that I recommend it, but you may need something short-term to get you through whatever crisis you're going through. And some people may actually need a longer-term medication. Some people actually have real organic reasons why they can't sleep. There are a lot of sleep aids out there that they're working on. But bottom line is that you do not have to walk around feeling like you're in a fog all the time. A lot of people have sleep problems, and there are a lot of new ways that they can be treated. So get some help, work on the tips I gave you, and hopefully you'll wake up feeling bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.